Rain, relentless cold rain. It was the kind of rain that seemed to seep into your very bones, chilling you from the inside out. It hammered the pavement, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. Each drop felt like a tiny hammer, pounding away at my resolve. Streetlights cast long, distorted shadows, making familiar streets feel alien. The once comforting glow now seemed sinister, as if the night itself was conspiring against me. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, each raindrop a drumbeat to a morbid rhythm playing in my head. My knuckles turned white, and the leather creaked under the pressure of my grip. Tonight I was on my way to confront my best friend, the man I had shared countless memories with, who had been like a brother to me. Little did I know it would be our last encounter. The thought of what lay ahead filled me with a sense of foreboding that I couldn't shake. The air in the car felt heavy, thick with dread. It was as if the very atmosphere was pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. Each breath I took came out shaky, a stark contrast to the confident persona I usually wore. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat echoing the fear that gripped me. Tonight the mask was slipping. The facade I had carefully constructed over the years was crumbling under the weight of my anxiety. My best friend, the one person I trusted implicitly, had betrayed me. The memories of our laughter and shared secrets now felt like a cruel joke. And not just betrayed me. He was responsible for the fear that had become my constant companion. The shadows that seemed to follow me everywhere were his doing, a reminder of the trust that had been shattered. Mark and I went way back, childhood friends, inseparable. We built forts in the woods, shared secrets whispered under the covers during sleepovers, and dreamt big dreams under the summer sun. We were more like brothers than friends. As we grew older, our bond only seemed to strengthen. We navigated the choppy waters of adolescence together, always there for each other. High school graduation came and went, and we promised to stay close, no matter what life threw our way. We were ready to conquer the world side by side. Life, however, had other plans. After high school, our paths diverged. I went to business school driven by a hunger for success. Mark, on the other hand, chose a different route. He drifted from one job to another, never quite finding his footing. My career took off. I landed a high-paying job at a prestigious firm, climbed the corporate ladder, and enjoyed the fruits of my labor. Mark, meanwhile, struggled to make ends meet. The carefree friend I knew was slowly being replaced by someone shrouded in resentment and bitterness. Mark's financial troubles worsened. He was in over his head, drowning in debt. Out of desperation, he turned to me for help. I, blinded by our shared history and my own success, didn't hesitate to lend him a significant amount of money. I believed in him, thought it was just a temporary setback. The money helped for a while, but it was a band-aid on a gaping wound. Mark's spending habits didn't change, and soon he was back to square one. He came to me again and again, each time the amount he needed growing larger. I started to feel the strain, both financially and emotionally. The more successful I became, the more distant Mark seemed to become. Our conversations, once filled with laughter and shared dreams, now centered around his problems, his failures. I tried to be understanding, supportive, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between us. Then came the whispers. Mutual friends hinted at Mark's growing resentment, his envy. They said he felt overshadowed, that my success was a constant reminder of his shortcomings. I dismissed it at first, refusing to believe that our bond could be tarnished by something so petty. I was wrong. One evening I received a call from Mark. He sounded desperate, frantic. His voice trembled as he spoke, a stark contrast to the confident man I once knew. He needed more money, a large sum, and he needed it immediately. The urgency in his voice was palpable, and I could almost feel the weight of his financial burdens through the phone. When I hesitated, he exploded, his words laced with bitterness and accusations. It was as if a dam had burst, releasing a torrent of pent-up frustration and anger. He blamed me for his misfortunes, claiming that I had everything while he had nothing. His voice dripped with venom, each word a dagger aimed at my heart. That's when I knew. The friend I knew, the one I had trusted with my life, was gone. The memories of our shared laughter and dreams seemed like distant echoes, overshadowed by the present reality. In his place stood a stranger consumed by envy and resentment. The transformation was heartbreaking, a stark reminder of how circumstances can change people. I refused to give him any more money, and in that moment, I swore I felt a chill run down my spine. It was a decision that weighed heavily on me, but I knew it was the right one. It was the chilling premonition of a betrayal that would soon shake me to my core. The sense of impending doom was almost tangible, a dark cloud looming over our fractured friendship. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a series of events that would test my resolve and redefine my understanding of trust and loyalty. Days turned into a sleepless blur. The threat hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. I tried to reason with Mark, to salvage what was left of our friendship. My attempts were met with cold silence, a silence that spoke volumes. Fear became my constant companion. I started noticing a car following me, a shadowy figure lurking near my building. My once safe and familiar world had transformed into a sinister landscape where danger lurked around every corner. Little did I know, the danger resided not in the shadows, but in the heart of someone who once claimed to be my brother. The phone call came in the dead of night. A detective, his voice devoid of emotion, informed me that Mark had been found dead, murdered. My blood ran cold. A wave of nausea washed over me, followed by a chilling realization. He had been right all along. The fear I had been carrying, it wasn't paranoia, it was a premonition.
The pieces of the puzzle fell into place with horrifying clarity. Mark's death was no random act of violence. It was a carefully planned, cold-blooded murder orchestrated by the one person who knew your routines, your vulnerabilities.
The courtroom was a cold, sterile space, a stark contrast to the turmoil raging within me. The walls seemed to close in, amplifying the tension that hung in the air. Every creak of the wooden benches, every rustle of paper, felt like a thunderclap in the oppressive silence. Seeing my best friend's killer standing trial, listening to the evidence presented against him, was surreal, like watching a macabre play unfold. Each piece of evidence, each witness testimony was a dagger to my heart, reopening wounds that had barely begun to heal. The defendant's cold, unfeeling demeanor only added to the surreal horror of the situation. The prosecution painted a picture of a man driven to desperation by debt and consumed by envy, who saw murder as the only way out. They meticulously detailed his descent into darkness, highlighting every misstep, every malicious thought that led to that fateful night. The tension in the room was palpable, as if everyone was holding their breath, waiting for the inevitable conclusion. The jury's verdict came swiftly and without mercy: guilty. The word echoed in the courtroom, a final, irrevocable judgment. It was as if a weight had been lifted, yet a new, heavier burden settled in its place. The reality of the situation hit me like a tidal wave, overwhelming and inescapable. As the judge read out the sentence, a strange sense of emptiness washed over me. The words seemed distant, almost unreal, as if they were being spoken in a dream. The defendant's reaction was muted, almost resigned, a stark contrast to the emotional turmoil that gripped the rest of the courtroom. Justice had been served, but it couldn't bring back Mark. The finality of the sentence did little to ease the pain of his loss. The courtroom's collective sigh of relief was a hollow comfort, a reminder that some wounds never truly heal. It couldn't erase the betrayal, the chilling realization that the person I trusted most in the world was capable of such a heinous act. The memories of our friendship, once a source of joy, were now tainted by the knowledge of his true nature. As I left the courtroom, I knew that the scars of this trial would stay with me forever, a constant reminder of the fragility of trust and the darkness that can lurk within the human soul. Years have passed, but the memory of that betrayal still stings. It's a constant reminder of the fragility of trust, the dark side of human nature that can lurk beneath the surface of even the closest relationships. The experience has left an indelible mark, forcing me to confront the complexities of human emotion, the destructive power of envy and resentment. I've learned that envy is a dangerous beast, one that can poison even the strongest bonds. It can twist love into hate, loyalty into betrayal, and drive a person to commit unspeakable acts. Mark's story is a tragic reminder that sometimes the people closest to us can harbor the darkest secrets, and the consequences can be devastating. The question that continues to haunt me is simple yet profound. Could I have done something differently? Could I have recognized the warning signs, the growing darkness within him, and prevented this tragedy? The answer, I fear, is a painful maybe. Mark's story is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the destructive power of envy and the importance of recognizing the fine line between loyalty and blind trust. It's a story that continues to haunt me, forcing me to confront the complexities of human nature and the enduring question, how well do we really know those closest to us?